Sauce. Epic Sauce. Epic Sauce. Epic Sauce. Epic Sauce. Epic Sauce. Epic Sauce.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the NASCAR Dip and Sauce SAUCECAST. We just had the race at Talladega, the first time they're going to go there this year. It was a decent race. I wouldn't call it great. I don't know how you guys feel about it. We have Sully, our producer, with us. Hugh Rosenblatt, and Manny is back with us this week. Welcome back. The first thing I want to do before we get going here is I want everybody to say red leather, yellow leather. No, I'm just kidding. So, a couple of things to get to. We'll kind of run through everything. I want everybody to jump in, and we'll have a good time here. So the race was decent. I didn't feel like it was a great Talladega race. I felt like the ending was horrible. It was something that I would say I was anticipating a little more, and it just didn't happen. I wasn't expecting a big crash, but there was a lot of shit going on in that last 2 or 3 laps. It started with Denny Hamlin's crew basically dropping the ball and causing a big field breakup, and then you had whatever Ross Chastain was on something today.
Watermelon.
Today.
Yeah, today. I mean, I tweeted out today, he was doing his best. He looks both ways before changing lanes. I guess. Listen, I don't like Ross Chastain. I don't think he deserves the ride he's in.
Here's my problem with Ross. People, I see all the time on Twitter, how could you not like Ross Chastain? And I think, how could you like Ross Chastain? Everyone hates on Ty Gibbs all the time. He's too aggressive, whatever. I don't care either way whether he is or not. But my problem
is... It's already the same thing.
Right. Ross Chastain does the same stuff. The block.
I don't think Ross Chastain cares about killing somebody.
No, I swear, he apparently has never had a hard career. A hard crash in his career, because how he blocked Denny Hamlin when Denny Hamlin had a huge run at the last second, and then how he blocked Kurt into 3 on the last lap. That doesn't make any sense. You're not racing correctly.
What started with me with Chastain today was I was sitting there watching the race, and then I don't know what, it was lap 53. I have it noted here, lap 53, when I think it was him and McDowell we're going a lap down. Remember, Brad Keselowski went the lap down.
I forgot
what
about
the hell
that.
were they? Yeah, what the hell were they thinking?
McDowell did the right thing. He stayed low. Ross Chastain stays in the middle of the dang track. What are you doing?
That was a wreck.
That's my point. So Ty Gibbs makes it such a huge deal because he ran up on Ryan Sieg and got him arrow loose on lap 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But then Ross Chastain sits in the middle. You guys, everyone cries, someone's going to die at a super speedway race. But you sit there and you go in the middle of the track to purposely cause disruption to the field. I get it. It's legal. It's all in the rules. It's all fine.
Yeah.
But morally, you're talking about knocking someone's teeth in. Look at Ross Chastain.
That's pot calling the kettle orange. I thought that moment, and then the person I was watching with, he basically said, he's reckless. He don't care. And that's what frustrates me. And that's what frustrates me with these YouTubers and stuff is they don't hesitate to call Ty Gibbs out for what he does. And Ty Gibbs, and we disagreed on this in our group
because
chat.
Ty Gibbs actually has talent. Ross Chastain doesn't.
But I don't feel like Ty Gibbs made any mistake in the Xfinity race. I felt like the wreck that happened with Ty Gibbs was a racing deal, but if I remember correctly, I think the 11 car, whoever was in front of him, just basically couldn't hold the damn line, is what it was. And that happens, but people want to bitch about Ty and cheer when Ty wrecks, but Ross Chastain does something like that, and first of all, Ross backed into this win big time because Larson should have won that race, and whatever the hell he was doing, because he's pretty worthless on these tracks too, and by God, he's not as good. I mean, feel free to jump in, but he's not as good of a race car driver as he's made out to be. He never has been. Otherwise, he would have been winning in the Ganassi equipment.
He's running about the same he was back then with Ganassi right now. And I don't know what it is. I think maybe Hendrick is not possibly giving him the best equipment anymore. But either way, if he doesn't have the best car, he's not doing as good as evident. He doesn't have the best car in the field anymore. It's obvious RCR has the best cars right now.
Well, what do you think about? Okay, so on that point of Hendrick, you had the lap 58 crash. It was, I guess, a few cars with Hemrick overcorrecting and this and that, which, Hemrick's another one that really shouldn't be there. Hendrick's garbage too, and he shouldn't even have won the championship in the Xfinity Series last year. I thought that was kind of he backed into that.
No one talks about that either. It was a big deal for Ty Gibbs. Again, not to harp on Ty Gibbs.
Never won a fucking race.
This is the Twitter sphere that we have to read right now. Ty Gibbs such a big deal that he moved a ringer, someone who's not full-time in points, but then you guys love it when Daniel Hemrick goes and moves Austin Cindric for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's irritating. And then for somebody to literally pull the iRacing out and overcorrect into the field like he did, that's a lack of talent, especially when you're blowing up. Like when you're blowing up, like you lock it, like if you're going to spin, you lock it down to the inside. And I was talking to somebody this weekend, and that's the problem with the ARCA drivers. An ARCA wreck starts, and then it's like nobody, when the car went, I forget who it was, the car went in the air in the ARCA race. It's because they don't know how to like wreck. Does that make sense? Like there's an art to wrecking. There's a reason that the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars don't go upside down unless they're turned at a weird angle. They don't run up on each other like that. Well, look at the damn dirt race last week with Harvick. Noah Gragson goes up on the nose of Kevin Harvick. Well, he may have been out of his control, but how much of that is like his throttle that he's holding as he, spins, trying to correct it, trying to be the hero? Well, Daniel Hemrick definitely trying to be the hero. And just another driver that I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think that goes without being said. The problem I have with that is the lack of opinions that these idiots on Twitter have about it. Like where was that when Michael Waltrip gets ran down there, saves it, and comes up into traffic, saving the damn car, does a damn good job, and gets criticized by Jeff Gluck for trying to save it.
That drove me nuts when Jeff Gluck corrected him. I'm like, do you not know anything about the sport you cover? He has no control there, except he did an amazing job.
He did, yeah. He caused a wreck, and that's the kind of thing I find acceptable.
2012, 13, something?
Yeah,
Michael
2013 or 14.
On the backstretch, got ran down onto the apron, kept it. Meanwhile, you have Daniel Hemrick, who's blowing up, and then decides to turn right for any reason?
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to like my next point. And well, first, Hemrick's garbage. I don't know how you guys feel about him. We can go quick through everybody.
He's a back marker. He's just there for advertisements at this point. They're sponsors that. Yeah. I
think it's a rich parents thing. But you should never overcorrect up into the field. Like that is like rule number one. Not only was it a hard hit for Chase Briscoe, which I know hurt Manny's heart a little bit, but you take out Chris Buescher, and then what it is like you have the damn 16 car who's a back marker, and he overcorrects into the middle of the field thinking he's a hero. Mm-hmm. And at least when Brendan Gaughan flipped, he did it with style, and he didn't, overcorrect up into everybody. He got turned, and he was up there racing, just like Michael used to do those races. Michael was
There's a point where there's no returning when you get loose, and especially if he's blown up. I didn't know he was blown up. I thought he just got loose and was wrecking.
That would have been even worse.
To the left, if he turns it to the left and then just goes to the grass and brakes, his car's fine. Yeah, you might go a lap or two down, but at least you're not, damaging a race car that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, including other race cars. There's a point where you just gotta lock it down and move on.
Well, so the next crash that happens was the lap 90 crash with the stupid, and I'm sorry, I don't like the games that Hendrick plays. I don't like it at Martinsville. I don't like it at Talladega. Like, they should do something about these teams trying to switch lanes and get in front of each other. It's the lamest shit in NASCAR.
Well, to be fair to Hendrick, they all do it. But
they all do it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. And the thing is, like, okay, so that crash happens, and I'm not going to blame it on Hendrick. It wasn't Hendrick's fault. But the chain of events that happened with William Byron getting it down in front of Kyle Larson at the time, I think it was, Truex thinks he's got to hit the brakes. And they showed it on Fox. Truex hits the brakes. And that's what jams them up. And Joey Logano is basically which, 2020 Joey Logano, maybe he shouldn't be wearing his glasses when he races. But 2020 Joey Logano, not 2020 the year, 2020 vision, Joey Logano, would have been the one that said, "Oh, I'm out of line." And you know what I'm saying? Like, is Joey getting old, guys? Like, is his reflexes slowing down?
I feel like he is.
I think that maybe it was just a case of him not thinking that, we're going to be wrecking right off the start. Like, there shouldn't be games like that played on restarts. It's frustrating to watch because you see William Byron playing games on the outside line. Martin Truex Jr. then has to react to try and not fall 10 spots back right on the restart. And then it just caused a chain reaction. It could have easily just been the spotter not communicating with him. Like,
there's
very little reaction time.
Somebody's hitting the brakes on a restart.
Coleman Presley is a very good spotter. They have great chemistry. They've been friends for however.
They roomed together.
I mean, Joey Logano said that they've been friends since they were 5 years old or whatever. The main reason that Joey was in trouble there is the splitters are too damn big. It's hard, even if they're see-through at the top, it's hard to see through there. Now, I don't know that Coleman could relay that quickly. I mean, you're not really expecting someone to hit the brakes on a restart at Talladega. But I just don't think he could convey it quick enough, and I don't think Joey could see the stack-up that was coming.
Yeah, it was a big stack-up, and to me, like, it happens every time, and then maybe Bubba Wallace shouldn't have been there either, and he lacks a lot of, like, not going there. Like, I like Bubba. I like Bubba Wallace. I think he's good for the sport. I think his personality is good for the sport, but he does lack some of that skill. If you have, in that situation, if you have Kyle Busch behind Joey Logano, I don't think that wreck happens. If you have, Kevin Harvick behind Joey Logano there, I don't think that wreck happens. I mean, I think it was a chain reaction. Started with Truex hitting the brakes, but anybody else behind them, it's just going to be a stack up. And then the wreck maybe happens to Daniel Hemrick or somebody like that back in the pack.
You might be onto something with these people. I don't know what it's been, but you said the stack up thing. Think about Daytona. Somebody stacked up in front of Kyle Larson, and he destroyed them. It was, I think Kevin Harvick checked up for whatever reason. There was a wreck.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson would slap in the back of him 2 or 3 car lengths back. So I don't know if
the
these
ARCA
guys
mentality.
are getting, like, if the suck is more, or these cars are more fidgety with not having they're having the different steering. But, like, I don't know what it is, but some of these guys are making some horrible mistakes, especially on super speedways.
Yeah, and we're not even gonna. I mean, we'll go to the end of the race real quick. Denny Hamlin's crew totally flubs, which they're worthless, and we'll get into the Joe Gibbs thing.
And before we move on, I want to bring up, like, we've talked about getting rid of this teamwork stuff. The only problem is I don't see how NASCAR does anything to change what's going on. Like, there's already the don't move, change lines before the start finish line. What can NASCAR do to really get rid of this teamwork stuff? Because
they
if
could
it's
put
not
a line
teamwork,
out of 2. I mean, they could do like their overtime line thing they used to do, where they put a line in like the center of 1 and 2 and say, no, you can't play games before this point.
See, I feel like that hurts restarts, though. Honestly,
I mean, it hurts racing. I just don't think, like, I miss the days of fucking Wally Dallenbach Jr. wrecking Mark Martin.
That's what I was about
knocking
to say.
Mark Martin out of the lead.
What's different now is these drivers act like pansies sometimes. Sorry, all of them. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Kevin Harvick used to be the most badass dude out there. Now he acts like a 50-year-old dad, because he is. But my point is, if I was out there, couldn't care less, easy to say from this seat, I would push the hell out of the person. I would do whatever it took to wreck them, to move them, get them out of the way. If you want to play those games, that's fine. But on the opposite side, I have to expect that if I'm trying to check up a restart and let my team win. So it needs to be self-policing, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing, too. And it's like people want that, and then they complain about it when Ty Gibbs does it. I mean, what the hell do you want?
Which, we're not Ty Gibbs homers here. That's just an example, because everyone hates him
he's good for the sport.
Oh, he's great for it. Amazing.
Kyle Busch is good for the sport. Joey Logano is good for the sport. Brad Keselowski has basically become the euthanized horse of the bunch because Brad was like
no relation.
Balls
he doesn't
to
want
the
to waste
wall.
his money.
Yeah, I guess so, which is
now.
kind of lame. Which I think if you took Kyle Busch and put him on his own team, he'd be kind of careless with the money. He's proven that.
To be fair, Brad has been calm compared to 5 years ago. Brad is much calmer, much calmer than what he used to be. When I first started watching the sport back in 2013, Brad was my most hated driver. I couldn't stand him, and
I don't think
now it's like
could.
after like 2017, 2018, he started calming down. I'm like, I kind of like Brad to a sense at this point. Like he's kind of got a little attitude to him, but he's not like reckless anymore. And then after that, it's just turned into him being a pansy, and he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to wreck my car.
Well, when
Except for the Daytona
horse,
500.
Yeah, he wrecked a lot of people. Well, it's one of those things too. When the horse wins the Kentucky Derby, they don't run it again. So I mean, we'll just he
got
let that
euthanized
fly.
after the Daytona 500. Apparently,
So
broke his leg.
He gets sugar pills, and that kind of shows.
He pitches standing up too.
He does. Yeah, he probably does. In the stall. He's in the stall. Well, so let's move on from the race. Finish. I thought the finish was lame. Reckless Ross Chastain goes up for whatever reason. Sideswipes Kurt Busch, puts them in the predicament. Chastain's pretty much in the right place at the right time. But let's get into the juice of this. We had a conversation last night, and it was the Kyle Busch contract saga that has been going on now for 4 days. I mean, it just became a thing. And if anybody thinks that they're gonna get rid of him, I think that Joe Gibbs would have to be pretty brain dead to get rid of Kyle Busch.
That's also what a lot of people don't understand too. These kids with money don't just go to KBM because Kyle. I'll get $5 extra with Drew Dollar, so I'm going to put him in my truck. No, it's David Wilson. It's TRD. They have say in this, and if David Wilson, he said some weird stuff about Kyle in the past. But if David Wilson
they always have.
gets rid of Kyle or lets Joe Gibbs get rid of Kyle, that is one of the worst moves in sports histories.
Toyota's gone.
Right. And then you got to think, not only is Toyota gone, as far as JGR, I mean, they have Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. Truex will be gone before too long. But you lose your feeder team. KBM is gone. So I don't know how you're going to get.
And Kyle fields the ARCA team now.
And Kyle fields the ARCA team now, KBM. So I don't know what they're gonna do. So that's why I think Kyle was just being Kyle, and I don't think there's anything too much coming from that.
I thought that we talked about it last night. I was wondering, we were talking about maybe I know Sully, you said Kyle was maybe holding out for performance, which makes sense because Joe Gibbs is a great team and they were top of the line, but it's like they have these instances now where they don't put enough fuel in the car, or they lose the tire. As opposed to a Hendrick. I
just think Toyota's, in terms of top teams, Toyota's the worst team in the field. Kyle's the only reason that team even looks somewhat decent right now, and he doesn't even look that great in terms of speed. He's never the fastest car out on the track anymore. It's always he either is just getting out there because of just pure skill. And you look at Vegas. Vegas was the only race where Kyle and Martin Truex Jr. looked really good. And then you move on to Richmond, and obviously Richmond's a better track, and Denny and Hamlin ended up winning that track. But it's that you just don't see that dominance that you saw in 2017 and 2018. That those Toyotas are gone, and they're the worst cars in the field, in my opinion.
Well, both JGR wins this year were luck, correct? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
There's been a lot of luck this year.
Denny Hamlin hit the tire strategy in Richmond, and then Kyle obviously got lucky at Bristol.
Can we just not talk about the people that? And I'm not just sucking the Kyle Busch hot dog. I'm just basically, can we talk about how when something happens with Kyle Busch, it's kind of like the Kevin Harvick mentality with Joey Logano. You remember back where his wife wears the fire suit in the family, and then the next week they had the T-shirts and everything, and then Alex Bowman backs into the win this year, and then the next week he's selling this merchandise that probably sold out. Kyle is notorious for when he has a run-in with somebody. Can you imagine when he first became the heel and spun Dale Earnhardt Jr. out, which was an accident. It was not intentional. The shirts, like if Hendrick would have capitalized on that at the time.
Oh yeah.
He wouldn't have had to
It
kill
would have made a
someone
living
for
in the
that.
killing off.
Oh.
And then I loved his comment last week, which I forgot to mention on the SAUCECAST, where he said, I feel like Dale Earnhardt, and I didn't even do anything. That was good. I mean, being a new fan, Manny, or newer fan, you're pretty well versed in it now. Do you feel like what is your, give it to us. What is your honest opinion about drivers like Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, or the real outspoken drivers? What do you think? Personality wise.
Yeah, I've come to appreciate the outspoken drivers, the personalities. Now, whether I personally enjoy them having that attitude or whatnot, not always. I don't personally enjoy it all the time in a driver. But yeah, I've come to appreciate that in drivers, and my favorite drivers aren't necessarily the most outspoken or whatever, but I think it's definitely great for the sport. It's entertaining. I wouldn't want racing without personalities like that, and I think we definitely need more. Not to the extent of Ross Chastain's or maybe Tyler Reddick's or a wreck in the fields, but yeah, no, I think it's great, and we definitely don't want every single driver to be boring and vanilla.
Do you guys like it when the broadcast? Because I know people want to suck off ESPN, and they don't remember how bad ESPN's coverage of NASCAR was in 2000. And
I always say, careful what you wish for.
Oh
ESPN would be terrible right now. They have no good shows. Everything on ESPN is just absolute crap right now. There's nothing good on ESPN. I used to be a kid and watch ESPN and Sports Center, and it was just the absolute best thing. You wake up and your top 10 plays of the day, and you're like, oh, look at that catch. Oh, he's at the 30. That's you can remember it. It's in your head. ESPN has none of that now. It's all garbage. There's nothing good about ESPN. Their coverage sucks. Everything about them sucks.
Well, the thing is, it's they want ESPN. But so ESPN was really big on fabricating drama, and that's when the Kevin Harvick pushed Brad Keselowski and Jeff Gordon and him got in a fight. That was an ESPN thing, and you had the announcers down there, but they would always Vince. I think Mike Massario, and then you had Dave Burns. Dave Burns was really bad about saying shit what did you think? What do you think he intended on doing there when he walked up to you and talked to you? And they tried to stoke it. Okay, so point being, Fox kind of lets that go organically. They don't really fabricate the drama. I feel like the Fox half of the season they don't really have to, and then I feel like the NBC side, sometimes they make things out bigger than they are, but then when you get to those cutoff races, they do it kind of happens organically. But I don't feel like Fox. Really fabricates it that much. I know that people on Twitter and YouTube and your Ian Gillums and your I don't think Eric complained about them, but whatever. But the people want drama and they want this and that and they want a fresh product. And then, the Fox broadcast has been fine. We spoke about that last week. Fox has been changing it up. Now, it's just kind of ironic that, we start this SAUCECAST because we're going to crap on all these people for complaining about that stuff. And then Fox goes and does their race day thing before the race, which is very successful so far. And wow, people aren't complaining. Well, Fox has the cartoon drivers. Do you watch for the graphics on the screen?
100%.
They do it for football.
Does that make you cringe, Manny, when you see the cartoons of William Byron?
No, that's not cringy. As a matter of fact, I think it's attractive.
Hey, Hugh, do you think, you being the anime person, do you find it sexy when they when they have the
I don't care. It makes no difference to me. I really couldn't care less.
Don't do it for you.
As long as so angry about it that your curly hair starts popping out.
It literally makes no difference to me. Obviously if they got rid of it, it wouldn't make a difference in my opinion. It makes no difference. They already drew them up. Might as well keep them at this point. They do it for football. They do worse in football, I think. I've seen some of the ones in football, and it's just like, what on earth is going on? The only one they need to redo is Brad Keselowski, because I know Brad Keselowski looks like a horse as it is, but he really looks like a horse in that picture they drew of him.
Well, then it's funny because it's like they, that's the least. When I watch a race, I do not pay attention to the crowd and the crowd size. I don't know why anybody would. You're like, why are you going to watch a race for the racing? And then the crowd is very small. Oh, NASCAR's hurting because the crowd's small.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to say. The fact that you guys complain about the graphics and the crowd when you're not there, go buy a ticket if you're worried about the crowd. Secondly, though, if you're worried about the cartoons, what the hell can NASCAR do to make you happy? If you're starting the race and they're showing the starting lineup, and you just turned it on, and the first thing that gets your panties in a wad is that they have a cartoon Martin Truex Jr. there, how could they ever please you any other way? Why do you care about that?
Draw him nude.
They had Digger, which was the lamest thing Fox ever did in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and these kids probably love it. You remember when they had Digger?
I know, and that's what annoys me is like, the golden era when the cars were off the ground and the noses were big and the cars looked like Play-Doh because they were skewed so friggin' much.
And you want to complain? Laugh all over the fucking broadcast.
we need to cue that laugh up.
Yeah.
No,
Tim Brewer or whatever talking about his mom dying or someone, and Alan Bestwick's over there. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What I want to bring up though is just to move on.
You started talking about Alan Bestwick. Laugh.
I don't understand the hate that NASCAR gets for advertisements. This is a sport that never stops. Football, there's media breaks. Basketball, there's media breaks. When you go to a basketball game, they literally will call a timeout for a media break.
And they bring out Gatorade.
Ways to plan it. Yes, there's ways to plan it in other sports because it's a timed sport with periods and timeouts. There is none of that in NASCAR. You can't get that in NASCAR. So if they go to commercial, obviously they can say, like, don't go to commercial with 2 laps to go on a race. I don't think they've ever done that before. And if they have, then that was terrible.
I think ESPN
but they probably haven't.
Did.
It would make sense if they did, because they're terrible.
See,
but
look, though, Hughes
you're not going to know.
Correct, because they complain. What do they complain about? Stage breaks. What's a stage break for? Commercials. Well, guess what? At home, you get commercials when you watch the race. But like Hugh's saying, if you go to a basketball game, football game, college football, guess what? Yeah. You get the stage breaks in person. You have to sit there while TV goes to a timeout to a commercial, and you have to sit there and watch nothing happen on the field. So it's in every sport, as Hugh is saying, and you can't get rid of it. Why do they put these names and these logos on the side of the car? That's the whole point. You'll never get rid of it. And if you're worried about, they took it 8 laps into the race, well, it's good that it wasn't 8 laps to go. So you got to pick your poison.
Yeah. Well,
mention, there was no commercial, I believe, for the last 15 laps of the race, which at Talladega is a very long time.
Yeah, and I think Fox has been kicking it up a notch, and I think they were already good. And I've been their critic. I've been a critic of them for years when it comes to NASCAR, and I feel like like we've talked about last week, the truck side's terrible, and the Xfinity. Adam Alexander with his Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 3 car on the pole at Daytona. He literally said that Saturday or Friday at Talladega. I mean, get with the program. But Mike Joy, and then
what does Vince Welch think?
He thinks turkey sandwich.
The
wheel.
Vince Welch. Gotta take a dump after this checkered
He's still
flag.
better than Clint Boyer, though. Clint Boyer is the only bad thing about the Fox.
Absolutely
broadcast.
Horrible.
Yeah. He's terrible.
That takes
Clint
me to the
Boyer
next
is
point.
hyperactivity with hearing damage. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're right. And the thing is, like Clint always got me when he'd be like, he'd say, Clint, how's the car running? Well, the tires are on the car, so it's going good. No, the car, yeah, it's going good. It's going to be good. We're going to be fine. He'd always switch from like one extreme to the next. So basically, like where I want to go with this is having Dale Jr. in the booth is never a bad thing.
Boyer's outclassed every which way on the track in the booth, period.
Oh.
The last 2 weeks, DW did it to him too, but you notice how Clint's threatened and he tries to talk over, and he was a little more receptive to Earnhardt, but with Waltrip last week, he just talked over him. No, that's the car, yeah.
I hate
money, my money.
Too. I absolutely hate that. Mike Joy and Junior go off on a little bit of a tangent, having fun with the stats, and Clint always has to wrap it back to the race, and the segues are horrible. And he'll be they'll be talking about something to do with the Air Force Base. He'll be like, I don't know nothing about airplanes, but what I do know is we're about to go green right here with 17 laps to go.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. No,
he's terrible.
He
needs to be out.
Yeah, I think Earnhardt should be a year-round thing.
I love Dale in the booth.
I think he's
Dale
great.
in the booth is great.
You take Earnhardt, you employ him at both Fox, like Larry Mack, back when we were, first watching. Well, no, like midway through, Larry Mack he was on Fox, and then he went to TNT and NBC. He was not in the booth, but they had him down in the pit area in those races all the way through the championship.
Is he the crew chief that was crew chiefing in the Xfinity Series yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know he got into broadcasting. Well, good for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Larry's solid, and I don't know why they ever removed him from.
There's so much good.
He's great.
There's so much good talent though that TV doesn't even look at. Todd Gordon is on Sirius XM. He's a genius. He's great. He's so good. Put him in the booth. Have a new school Larry Mack. If you're not going to have Larry Mack, I think Larry
Chad
Mack should
Canals.
announce. That one time Larry Mack ran out of breath announcing Matt Kenseth at Martinsville. What's not the line?
Kenseth up from the corner.
The best.
Yeah, no, it was it, and then some of the best calls ever. And then like when Carl flipped Brad over at Atlanta, Mike Joy's like, and Carl Edwards has turned over the 12 of Brad Keselowski. And then Larry just without cue. And we have a caution.
Also, Brad Keselowski won this race.
Yeah. I mean, just classic calls. They should use him, but him, I can't imagine the booth with him and Dale and then Mike Joy, because Mike Joy is the best in the business.
I love Mike Joy. His voice is so smooth, and he just never stumbles over anything. He's so great in the booth. He's a great speaker.
Yeah, he's a natural in there. I mean, he's done it for so dang long too.
I agree. Well, let's move forward a little bit because we're running out of time. So we're going to get to that time. I didn't see anything on Twitter that totally bothered me this week. I'm going to look through really quick and make sure if I didn't screenshot anything, because there was one thing earlier in the week, but we may have to get to it another time. Let me see really quickly. They're really, okay, so like back to the Fox broadcast really quick, just make a quick point. I love how this race day before the race thing has remedied everything, and all these stupid kids stop complaining. Sorry, I use the word kids because I think they have short attention spans. And if something makes them cringe, then God, I worry about me.
Well, it's okay because you're a boomer, so anyone under like 30 is young to you.
Well, the thing is, like, I was totally like waiting for it. I was ready to hit the Q button because I knew when I saw the Bob Pockers thing, and then now you have Danny B talks who said, who is a constant cringe complainer, cringe, say, I'm going to complain about this. Now Danny B is more organic than a lot of those other guys out there. Not bombing on him, just stating the point. He does complain sometimes, as does everybody else out there. He tweets to that video, this is something that everybody needs to see starting their morning about Bob Pockers partying in the Talladega Boulevard.
Who cares?
And then I'm thinking, like, okay, but I was ready with that button. When they show that on Fox, shit's gonna hit the fan. Nobody had a thing to say about it this week. Well, whatever. Somebody gets a tad creative, and you bomb on them about it. Whatever. Like, I don't watch for the pre-race.
Well,
if you watch for the pre-race, then suck it.
I thought the problem was post-race commercials, broadcasts, Mike Joy, Clint Boyer. They put a stage outside for pre-race, and you guys lose your crap. Like that solved everything. I thought it was post-race and during the race that was the problem. You guys can't stay long enough for pre-race and post-race and the race.
Yeah. So let's move through the format a little bit and just open discussions here. Let's see. There were no Twitter bombs. Didn't see anything I totally disagreed with. NASCAR media members, unless y'all saw something, I didn't see anything that really caused me to hit the fan.
I did want to mention, I mentioned it to you guys earlier, but Brennan Brown got this tweet from this guy, Pete Anthony Will.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's complaining about, I feel bad for you. You came out in support of Bubba and all this like stupid non-argument. And Brennan Brown said, Pete Anthony Will, you have more first names than followers, and then he checked the tweet like an hour later. His account was deleted. So I just thought that was classic.
Before he deleted it, I went to his account and he had 3 followers.
Wow!
I saw that too as it unfolded, and it was funny. And I'm not a Brandon Brown fan, but it was. I mean, he wasn't wrong. I mean, maybe. Let's just say maybe he was letting a little more oxygen through his mouth than normal. If you catch my drift,
it's got that respirator.
he's a hell of a whistler. All right, so I do like you throwing that in because that was like right on cue. I didn't really see anything else that bothered me, but let's get to our deep fried dippies for the week. Now, this is where we just kind of ask some questions, and we're going to run through these. Let's see, whiniest driver of the weekend. I know we did that one last week, but was there a whiny driver this weekend?
There wasn't really anyone who whined too much. I feel like Joey Logano, his interview when he got wrecked was pretty whiny, but it was warranted. It was warranted. Like, it's very easy to get frustrated at restrictor. Well, they're not restrictor play anymore, but he was complaining that no one likes it here, and so it was pretty whiny, but it was warranted.
I got one.
What did they expect? Yeah,
mine would be Daniel Hemrick. What he said in the Xfinity race.
What was that?
I said, you doored Austin Cindric for a championship and this and that, and then you're mad at Ty Gibbs because he's the one who got wrecked by Ty Gibbs. And then he goes on, his spotter tells him, hey, Ty Gibbs said that he got pushed weird by Ryan Sieg, whatever. And then Daniel Hemrick goes, yeah, of course, it's never his fault. And it's like, get some self-awareness. You wreck someone yourself. So, and then you almost wrecked the whole field by overcorrecting a blown up car. So
in a Cup Series race.
Right. Mm-hmm. So mine's going to be Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah. I think I have a problem with one thing I didn't touch on, but we'll kind of go to the next subjects. I think that, first of all, we'll just leave it at this because I think we all agree on this, but the ARCA decision was probably, I don't know what the hell that was all about.
Yeah, pointless. Absolutely. Start the race earlier.
Yeah. Like next flag ends it when you got 9 laps to go.
That totally screwed Rajah Caruth, and I mean, he definitely would have played it differently if he knew that. I mean, really, all of them. I'm not going to say necessarily screwed Rajah, but he definitely would have taken that differently. He said that he learned it. I watched his little post-race interview. He said that he learned it going into 3, coming to the green flag. Like, come on, decide that at the time of caution, or don't do that. Start the race earlier.
So, who do you think needs to be knocked down a notch?
Oh,
Ross Chastain.
Ross.
Yeah, okay.
Chastity belt.
Now, do you think that did you see? First of all, his won't elaborate on it a whole lot because we're running out of time. But his little that video of him giving the rubber to the kid was awkward.
Oh, that was
creepy.
Horrible.
That was
like a pedophile.
Yeah, and then giving him rotten watermelon.
This
manhandling.
The kid's like, you're not even looking at me.
Manhandling the rotten watermelon, being like, "You want some? You want some? I'll break it off." And then he couldn't even give him the piece; he gave him half of it. It would have fit. Did he mean
to give it to the kid standing next to that kid, or was it?
No, he meant to give it to him because he gave the kid
there was 2 kids, maybe.
Because he's seeing double.
Yeah,
he was handing the kid the tire, the piece of the burnt rubber tire, which whatever.
You want some of my tire?
He's like, it's soft. Don't worry. Like, hands it to him, and then
sorry,
the kid's
I
like,
have
what
some
the
already.
heck? And then he's like, you want some watermelon too? Like, meanwhile, the kid's like, are you talking to me? Like, I really can't tell if you're talking to me. Like, Dad, he's not looking at me. Like, it's like, so then he gets the watermelon. The kid takes a bite out of the watermelon. Like, all this juice and stuff comes throwing from his mouth, and I'm like, that was nasty, man. Like, that was on the ground. Like, cars are running over that, and it's rotten. Like, you're gonna give this dang kid food poisoning, and he's gonna have the runs on the drive home, and his dad's gonna have to pull over on the highway and let him take a poop.
And there ain't nowhere to stop out there in Talladega.
And they ain't got toilet paper either.
That's what the dirt track's for.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's true. Butt pucker of the race.
The track.
Who?
Bubba Wallace.
Do you think Bubba Wallace was puckered all the way to the wall, or
Bubba was? So he was my pick for loaded diaper, but I'm still gonna say it's pretty similar. Butt pucker when Joey and them all checked up in front of him. I'm pretty sure if you listen to the broadcast,
yeah,
you can hear his butt go like kind of suction to the seat.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I will say the biggest butt pucker for me is Kyle Busch. The big one, what if you want to call it that, where Joey wrecks and then Kyle misses like 3 cars.
Yeah, he barely missed that.
That was pretty expert driving right there.
I'll tell you who had the butt pucker of the week.
Who's that?
That 60-year-old insurance salesman who totally pounded the guy in a T-bone and compound fractured his own leg because he didn't know where the brake pedal was.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but the 69 car in the ARCA race who did not stop and then compound fractured his own leg.
Yeah,
that is insane.
And then Manny typed in the chat. You also had butt puckris. I
feel like Bob Puckris was loose because he went down Talladega Boulevard or whatever it's called. So
he might have spent the night in the tent with the guy that only wears the tire. I like Bob.
So see, my person who I think was puckering up the most today, I think it's going to be Clint Boyer. I feel like he's, like you said, I feel like he's threatened because he's not doing a good job.
That's a good one.
And I think people are realizing it, hopefully, and maybe his job will be up for grabs next season. So he's got to stick up his butt trying to prove himself to everyone, and he's puckering it, trying to keep it up there.
You know who they could have in the booth, and this will be kind of the wrap on this one, was they could have Noah Gragson announce. And then it could be win my dad's money.
Oh my gosh.
Major Greg alert there. Actually, can we talk about that real quick? Last SAUCECast, we talked about his how he eats all
yeah, I called that
greasy
one.
Or whatever.
And the next day they announced Wendy's sponsorship.
Come on.
That boy does not shower.
We're ahead of the time. I mean, that's all there is. Okay, so this one this question, and then we'll go to the picks real quick, but the Michael McDowell fake smile of the race, I'm going to give that one. So the award, the Dippy, is the Michael McDowell, or the Michael McDowell.
Michael McDorbang.
Michael McDowell fake smile move of the race. It was definitely, for me, when Michael McDowell pulled straight NASCAR 2003 season AI at the end of the race. And it was like, I'm going to go below the... No, I'm not. And it just came up, and I think it clobbered Corey LaJoie for no reason.
What was that? They were chasing them, were getting into each other behind, to his right. So his reaction is to go 100 feet to the left. And
there's a reason why he only has one career victory.
He almost went down pit road. He went so far to the left, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Nope, I need to get back up here, Corey. Sorry."
No, what Hugh said. There's a reason he only has one victory. Yeah, it's doing that exact same thing to Joey Logano.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I agree. Michael's mine too. So I'm out of this one.
I would give my fake smile move of the race to Kyle Larson. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know where his talent went. I guess he never had it to begin with. It was all the car. He's just wrecking people left and right this season. He did it to Chase at Auto Club. He did it today to Eric Jones. It was Eric Jones, right? It was
Kurt.
Kurt.
It was Kurt. Yeah, Kurt. He just turned right and was trying to block, and I don't know what kind of block that is. He did it to Justin
Haley at the Coliseum too.
Yeah, there's 4 instances this year where he's done the same exact thing. He doesn't know where his right rear is.
Jeez.
I mean, let's just face it, his wife shotguns beers, so he probably doesn't know where her right rear is either.
Oh.
So,
Yikes.
okay. So, last thing here, your pick for Dover next week. I'll go last this time because I stole Sully's pick, and you guys can pick the same drivers. You know, you can do the tip touch, pick the same drivers. That's fine. So whoever wants to go first, who you picking, Manny?
Well, I think I'm gonna go completely do like a complete 360 here, like completely changing it around, and then going right back to what I did last time. We got to go for William Byron because
good pick.
When he was about 13 years old, I'm pretty sure he won a go-kart race somewhere around Dover, or he knew a guy that did. So I got to go with him. I think he's a solid pick.
Great reasoning.
Who do you think, Sully?
Going by
I know
boring,
who wins. I've been in the future.
Had to live through Jimmy Johnson owning the place. Boring. Blah blah blah. Dover, demolish it. Whatever. It's gonna lose its state grade. I think it's gonna be a lame ass Chase Elliott win.
I can see that now. Hugh, what do you think?
I'm going with Kyle Busch.
Nice.
And I think if he actually runs the pedigree car this time, he actually will win it. If he doesn't run it this time, he will lose. But I know that pedigree car and Kyle Busch don't get along too well.
He's not running
we'll find out.
Quit asking.
Well, maybe he's not going to win, but I'm still going to go with Kyle. I think it's going to be his second win of the year. I think he's kind of going on a hot streak right now.
Okay, I'm gonna that's who I was gonna pick too. I was gonna pick Kyle Busch, but for the purpose of continuity, I will go with last year's. We'll put Kyle Busch there. That's who I was gonna pick, but I'm gonna let you have him. I'm not gonna pick the same one. I'd probably say that I'm gonna go safe and say that it's Mr.
Jimmy Johnson,
Mr. Closet himself, Alex Bowman. So.
Hendrick's definitely the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. So one more thing real quick before we wrap the SAUCECAST up. Closing statements. I'll go first. Last week I made it quite evident that I didn't want to see the big rig with the flag. And you know what? I think Fox listened to me. They only showed it for a split second. They didn't show it going down the whole front stretch. Unfortunately, I did see pictures of the guy with the tire who I don't get why you're doing that. I don't get why people dress up to go to races. Like Dale Earnhardt, like a guy dresses up like Dale Earnhardt and goes to Phoenix, like whatever. That's weird. But I mean, it's a race, not Comic-Con. No, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, they didn't show it, but a split second. It was kind of nice. I didn't feel like my teeth were falling out today when I watched the race. So everyone else, what's your final thoughts?
I'm gonna go with. I honestly have enjoyed the super speedway races a little bit more than past tense, last year and stuff. I feel like these cars just do a little bit better. I think the outside can survive a little bit stronger. I think it was a good Talladega race. Now, Dover, I'm really interested to see because we haven't been to a track like Dover yet. Dover is short track, but it's not. It's got speed, but it doesn't at the same time.
Yeah.
Tire wear. I think it will be a really interesting race. And I'm hoping that we can, maybe have the best race of the year and bump some other races down.
What do you think, Manny? Your closing thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think personally, I think Noah Gragson did a great job on that semi truck throwing out the Wendy's Baconators to the fans, and I think that he looked really good in that Wendy's apron in the commercial.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a major favorite to win the championship just from that.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, that's a very solid point. Maybe if other drivers wore more aprons like that.
I think so.
So my final thought would be, I'm going to read a little bit of erotic writing by Jenna Fryer. Chastain says today's watermelon was bought after Coda. It was on its last days, but was the juiciest ever. And juice was running all over his face, and he's never tasted a sweeter one.
She definitely had a different job before she got to that one.
That's season 3 of Bridgerton, isn't it? Oh, well, that's going to do it for our SAUCECAST tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everyone who listened last week. This has been a blast. Give us comments. Tell us what you want us to address, and we will make sure to address it. And hey, this is a new thing, so we'll definitely be back next week after Dover to give you our thoughts. We might not have much to talk about because of the history of Dover and how it can be a snooze fest. But you know what? We'll think of some things to talk about. Maybe we'll just go with the full bore silly hour. So thank you for joining us tonight on this April 24th edition of the SAUCECAST, and we will see you next week. Thank you for listening.